connect the character to the lesson. And I guess this kind of goes back to the serious part of it or whatever. And I mean, it doesn't always have to be serious even, but just we always talk about everything points to the altar call. So we're always trying to point everything to the altar call. And I guess in tandem, the lesson, Right. And so like if the lesson is obedience, we try to try other segments, offering whatever into that too. But when we have our characters, like let them struggle with that obedience. And I always try to, like in practice, I'll mention it, but we'll try to set up scenarios to make it relatable to the kids.
Mm-hmm.
Like where they feel like they understand. Like I always talk about be as literal as you can with kids. The older people are, or the smarter, I guess, quote unquote, the more metaphors you can use. With kids, I think you have to really minimize the metaphors and be as literal as you can. And so we often, when we're thinking of adults, we're thinking of like the wise man building his house upon the rock or whatever. That in itself is kind of a metaphor. And so we could use something like that and just think, like, everybody gets that. Well, not necessarily. I have a 8-year-old.
Yeah.
And, like, making sure and thinking about, does he really actually understand what we're talking about means, here,
Yep.
And so we kind of can create scenarios with the actors that help them understand,
Yes.
It's like do you remember, I don't know, I know I've talked about it before, but do you remember we did a skit for baptism, and it was Brennan and Brooke, their brother and sister, so it was ages ago, but they were the first one. I think we did it since then. But basically, I think it was like Brennan's character, it wasn't Sammy, but it was kind of like that, but he was like a kid, and he was scared to get baptized. And so we had a list of questions, I mean, in the script,
Yep.
he had a list of questions that we tried to think of questions that kids would ask, like, I got to go all the way under, but that's scary, and
yes,
different things. And like, how do I always see them put their hand by their face. What are they doing? And so she's like answering his question, but it's a skit. They're not addressing the kids.
Okay.
And so the kids were enraptured because it was on stage and it was a skit, but it was answering all their FAQs, their frequently asked questions. It was answering all their questions.
That's a good one that we could revisit again.
We need to, we should bring that back out.
I know Kyra, I shouldn't say, my daughter, I shouldn't say names. My daughter has she hasn't lately, but like, okay, say 2 years ago or whatever.
Yeah.
Or even a year ago, she did say that I'm scared to get baptized, or I'm afraid to. Mm-hmm. It never would really tell us why, and it's like, well, you're not getting baptized right now. You have to, couple years type of deal. But that would be good because actually, and then another person, his daughter was asking the same sort of things, like.
Yeah. So that would be good. We just had a couple. We had two recently. Two recently. Was one last week, or maybe it was the week before last?
I think it might have been the
week
before. Within the last 3 weeks, 3 weeks.
So they got baptized and they got the Holy Ghost, and that was awesome. But and so and you can do that with so many things. You can, you can build the like theme character, or even if it's not a theme character, like, okay, there goes Ratigan, or there goes King whoever, or whatever. It could just be a random, I guess, for lack of a better word, character that's doing offering segment today. Mm-hmm. But that character can still tie into the lesson. Or if he's talking about offering, he can try to think of the kids' FAQ, what's the kids' frequently asked questions, and how can we answer that in a way that's not talking directly to the kids, because then they don't, I don't know why, but they don't receive it as well. Yeah. But if they see it as a skit, and then they, that makes sense to me.
Part of it might be just going back to being a kid, is like, they don't want to be the one to be like, well, why do we have to do this? And
exactly.
Why asking something like that? But like, I guess it might be just a little bit of fear in well, I don't want to ask that.
Yeah, peer pressure.
Yeah. You know, you don't want to be the kid that's always asking the question.
Yeah.
I mean, there are those kids, obviously, I think there's a majority don't want to be that one to ask the question. And, you know, we always, at least growing up, well, now it's in my mind, but like you want to ask questions. Ask questions.
Yeah. Oh,
you
be
always
encouraged to ask questions.
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's what we're always. We're at least in school and stuff. Ask questions. If you don't know, you ask a question.
Yeah, but there's so many that, like you said, are scared to do that.
Yep.
And especially if a kid is coming on the bus, and even if they've been coming, they might be way more nervous, and they're not about to ask, but they wonder. They want to know.
Yeah, they've been coming for a while, and they're like, why do they do this? But they don't want to ask.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I wrote an article for the WPF magazine, Together magazine. I don't know, it's been a couple years ago now, but I wrote a story from a point of view of a kid that was in Sunday school that he was so interested and so liked the story, but he didn't want anybody to know. And my point was basically like a lot of times we do things that are unquantifiable. We do things that we don't necessarily see the results right away. We don't know, but we just do it. It's just what we do.
I mean, that we can see that in our own Sunday school on kids that have been coming for years now. Bus kids got the Holy Ghost. Now they're in the youth.
Oh yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
It's,
it's powerful.
You might
if we just keep on.
Yeah.
We just do what we're supposed to do: plant the seed and be steady and make it as awesome as we can make it, and then let God do His part. You know.
Yeah. I forget who it was, but years ago, and I can't remember. I think it was before I moved here, doing outreach, and it's like you can't know what's going to happen. You talk to someone, you knock on a door, you give a flyer out.
Right.
You're planting the seed, okay? Now, again, if you can follow up with them and help that seed, you know, water it, whatever.
Yeah.
But that's what our job is to plant a seed.
Plant a seed.
Hey, here's our information. If you need something, come.
Yeah.
You know, we can't control.
We don't control the outcome. We just lay all the groundwork, and we do the best job that we can.
Yeah.
Like, we don't use that for an excuse. Like, well, God has to do His part.
Yeah.
We don't. That's not an excuse. We do everything that we can and that we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
But I guess the key message in this is don't get discouraged when you don't see results tomorrow.
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah.
Because this is just,
unfortunately, it could be weeks, it could be months, it could be years.
And so the where the reward is in this is what we do.
Yep.
Week in, week out. This is what we do.
Yep.
And the reward is being steady. It's kind of like, this might not be the best example, but like this podcast. Since we started it, I don't know, it's almost 2 years now.
Good grief. That's crazy.
We have not missed publishing an episode on Friday.
On Friday. Wow.
And so that, and that's cool, whatever, but that's the reward, is just steady and just knowing that we are doing. And I'm not saying the podcast is a work of God or anything. I'm just using it for an example.
It could be a small part to someone that we we don't even know.
Yeah, well, and I have gotten feedback before too, and so which is really cool. Okay, a couple of things really quick. I just want to mention this because Matthew and I just did a podcast last week, I think it was, and we were talking about kind of that differentiating or that balance, I guess, of all the ad lib and things that we put into like a Bible story versus biblical accuracy. I think that was the title of it, creativity and accuracy or something. And so this is just something we could probably do better on ourselves, but just something to think about is we don't want the kids to think the Bible is a fairy tale. Like the example I used is David and Goliath is not the same as Jack and the Beanstalk.
Right.
It's you know, one's a fairy tale, one's a true story that actually really happened. And so Matthew and I kind of talked about maybe like it could be kind of, you know, this actually happened. This is what the Bible says. And maybe even like prefacing something like, you know, we don't know what David was thinking, but it's possible that he was thinking this. I mean, just imagine how you would feel, you know.
Yeah, I think we even touched something on that before. I can't remember the podcast, but we talked about, this wasn't a quick process. He didn't just go down and pick up a bunch of stones. We talked about, like, was he?
Oh yeah.
How long did he spend? Did he spend hours praying, picking up each stone, going, Lord, is this the? I mean, you could turn that into a complete. Like we talked about earlier, you could take that whole. That's a pretty lengthy Bible story or a Sunday school story that you could tell, but you could make it so much more impactful by just taking those key moments of
little pieces. Yes,
I'm going to have to face that giant, and making it so much more.
Yeah, and that's so true, because so often now we're getting off track. So often this is something, it would be cool to do a series on this.
It would.
In Sunday school, because so often we know the end of the story.
Right.
We know that Job gets everything back.
Yep.
We know that David wins the battle. We know that Paul and Silas get out of jail. But it would be, a funny way, it would be, like, I think Odyssey did this, is like, what if it didn't go that way? Like I remember it's like, what if Joseph did not forgive his brothers?
Take them all and kill them.
Yeah. And so, but that would be a funny way. But another way, though, would be to emphasize to the kids, like, Daniel was going to the lion's den, but okay, hold on. Daniel doesn't know what's going to happen. And then you could have the Daniel character really act that out,
There's some weird AI stuff, generated stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like a character. Now, it's all generated, obviously, but he's like, okay, so I'm in here with the lions right now, and he's looking around, and in the background, there's lion. Like, it looks real. It looks like a real video. And he's like, yeah, so this one's kind of okay. And he kind of rubs his head, and he's like, and then it kind of flashes forward, and it's like, so I'm out. I'm still alive. I'm still here, and thank God, and stuff. But it's like he's in biblical kind of clothes, or like Bible type kind of, and it's just like,
and he's like
he's kind of somber. Yeah, it's like he's doing a vlog or whatever, and it's like,
oh wow. And
I think it started out with like, so here I am. I'm still praying, and apparently the soldiers are coming to get me. I'm going to,
good.
And it's like,
it's
kind of like, wow, that. To think,
make you think
in that perspective of what kind of our day and age is now.
Yeah,
to be like what it would be like if that was happening now.
Nowadays, yeah.
It's like, here I got my phone out, and there's a bunch of lions. So here, day 3, I'm in here with the still here with the lions. They still haven't eaten me. Yep, and it's kind of like, oh my. It's kind of like, it's a groan, kind of like, oh yeah, really,
yeah.
But then it's kind of like, that's kind of cool. But
yeah,
on that whole thing, it's like,
yeah,
there's some more impact I think we could have.
Yes, for sure.
We stayed more on to, like, okay, yes, we like to have fun. We might like to fool around, have some not so serious moments. But even like today's one where it was like, and again, I unfortunately missed the practice, but you're in a time crunch, kind of, sort of, in a way. Like, you don't want to take this and drag it on for 15, 20, 25 minutes where now the kids are just, this is boring, but like I had to make a kind of a point, because we kind of started skipping over a section of Joshua talking about, hey, how did we lose this battle? Like, Lord, what? And then I kind of acted, because we didn't have I was thinking, it would have been cool to have a voiceover. I know we're running way over time and stuff, but it would have been cool to have a voiceover of God saying, this is why you lost, type thing. But so I was just kind of like, so I kind of like was like, Lord, why? And I was like, because there's sin in our camp. Yeah, there's sin amongst what? Who? How?
Yeah, make
so
your kids.
I kind of sped through that a little bit, but I made them all sit down. I was like, sit down. We got to do this point, because it's kind of a key point. Like,
it's
I mean,
key. That's what the story is. Yeah,
focused around. Yeah, and so so again, we were kind of going over that, like past that. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. Well, and that's the tough thing, the balance with the interactivity that we do, which we like and it's good, but it's chaos.
Yeah.
So, and that's where, like, if we would have split it into 2 or 3 weeks, we could have expounded more, on that.